Welcome to another episode of A Bad Idea of a Podcast. Today I have a special, inspiring NFL Europe Coach of the Year, Tonye Dokubo, coordinator of the American football program at the British Universities and College Sports. The pride, the joy of the Rocky Mountains, two-time World Bowl champions with the Berlin Thunder, the actual queen of the Queen City of the Plains, Steve Bunkahle. She is Jenny Siegle.
Thank you very much. All that introduction did was remind me that I'm old. You got to say a lot of things.
Wow, that's going to be a hard act to follow.
I think for us, our sort of key strength is inclusivity. So when it comes down to it, what we really care about is sort of the student experience and providing sports for students.
Das war durch Zufall. Ich habe 2018 und 19 die Munich Cowboys in München fotografiert, dadurch Luca Salvo, die Nummer 11 von uns, unseren Wide Receiver, kennengelernt. Und der hat ja gewechselt zu den Ravens und hat zu mir dann eben gemeint, probier's doch einfach mal. Und das habe ich gemacht und jetzt bin ich da, wo ich jetzt bin.
Ever since I was a little kid, I can remember being 5 years old and sitting on the couch and watching the Denver Broncos games with my dad.
And then last November, I had a phone call from Thomas Kosling and from Andreas Renner. I mentioned to Thomas if he was willing to think outside the box, I'd be willing to think outside the box.
We're going to switch to German, right?
Yeah.
But this episode is alles in Deutsch, okay? So let's get it.
So I kind of realized that I love sports and I wanted them to, continue to be in my life. And unfortunately, I couldn't always play them at the competitive level that I would have liked to because of my disability.
But you have conversations with people and you tell them, oh, you play American football in the UK. And they're like, oh, American football isn't played in the UK.
So we have American football? Really?
Yeah.
Do we? I mean, it's... If you have any chance to go back in time
to finally get their first world championship, I would have loved to have been a part of that production just because of the game that it was. I mean, you couldn't have put together a better game for football fans to watch.
And another great saying, and that's Miracle on Ice about the 1980 U.S. Hockey Olympics.
Yes.
And if you've ever watched the movie and you listen to Herb Brooks in the locker room before the game, they go, 9 out of 10 times they might beat us, but not today.
Die Momente, die kommen eher auf mich zu. Klar, ich versuche das Spiel zu fotografieren, stehe an einem bestimmten Punkt und wenn jetzt eben kein Spielzug ist, die Leute stehen im Huddle, schaue ich mich nach links und rechts um und schaue, was um mich herum passiert. Manchmal passiert ganz viel, zu viel, dass ich nicht alles mit der Kamera einfangen kann. Manchmal passiert auch nichts. Also da ist auch viel Glück dabei, dass man den richtigen Moment erwischt und an der richtigen Stelle.
I think Patrick Azume has a fabulous idea. I really do. I think one of the things from afar that you have to be very cautious of is we all get anxious and we all want to grow too fast.
One thing that I am very incredibly grateful for is how accommodating altitude sports has been for me and to me. And so what they created for me is like my own individual producer station. It made my job easier and I felt more confident when I was doing it and I was able to do a better job, I feel. So
a shout out to altitude sport for sure, because they give you the opportunity to showcase your talent.
Yeah, I think we're literally on the verge of exploding. Again, I say this all the time. It's the most exciting time, in my opinion, to be part of American football in the UK.
Ich würde jetzt mal sagen, Svenja von den Stuttgart Search.
Ja.
Sie macht sehr gute Bilder. Ich kenne sie auch persönlich. Erik Mühle von den Berlin Thunder.
Ja,
auch sehr gut.
The couple of tips that I do have is never think an opportunity is too small. Prove your worth, prove your knowledge.
Our women's team, the second best team in the world, only behind the USA.
It can be motivational for people with disabilities to see that, oh my goodness, I can not only have, a job, but I can have a career. I can have a career that I love.
To promote American football in Germany. I hope my pictures do a lot of work.
Yes.
Instagram page, I hope so.
Well, sometimes it's best to slow down and smell the roses, as they say. And I would caution the ELF that maybe growth and expansion isn't the key thing. Maybe becoming better and better and a little bit smaller would be best in the long run.
Always be grateful and a kind person, because I have learned that being a nice person, being a kind person can get you pretty far.
Cross-border collaboration and sharing of those best practices.
How do you find national players? The German Football League for years has been a very productive and positive league, full of a lot of German football players. The European League of Football requires that there be an X number of German football players, nationals, if you will, on that team. And the more teams you have in the country of Germany, the more watered down the talent becomes. There are a lot of people that want to play. There aren't that many that are capable of playing at an elite level. And that's what you're looking for, an elite level.
Okay, finally, it's now time for you. Schlechte Ideen nennen, die am Ende so eine gute Idee wurden. Which is your bad idea?
You hit this is like a big fat softball pitch that you're throwing up there. This is a layup. This one's easy for me.
This is interesting. I don't know, like bad idea.
Ich habe viel drüber nachgedacht. Ich wusste, dass die Frage kommt.
I don't really have bad ideas. All my ideas are great ideas. I'm joking.
I was in the Canadian Football League in 1996.
Yeah, actually, I'll tell you a bad idea, and it's one which has happened to me very recently.
Okay.
Initially, I didn't know if being a sports producer or just a woman working in sports in general was a good idea.
So I fractured my bone in my wrist.
I saw it.
Jack called me in June and offered me a job with the Barcelona Dragons.
Ja, schlechte Idee, glaube ich, habe ich jetzt so nicht, aber die Idee zu haben, sich selbstständig zu machen als Fotograf, ich zum Beispiel.
So if I keep playing, again, what's the worst that can happen?
I said, no, Jack, I just got back from Montreal, Canada. I can't do it. Going to Barcelona, Spain is not in my best interest. It's a bad idea, Jack. I can't do it.
I played those 2 games. Unfortunately, we lost both games, and I made my injury worse.
So finally, about the 1st of December in 1997, I said to Jack, I think it's a pretty good idea, Jack. If that job's still open, I'll go to Barcelona, Spain.
Aber ich glaube, ich bin auf einem ganz guten Weg und es wird zu einer guten Idee.
It took me a while to accept Jack Bicknell's office, and boy, am I thankful that I did.
I'm so grateful that it's turned out to be the complete opposite. It's turned out to be probably the best idea I've ever came up with, honestly.